star. So definitely very excited and happy that he will be on the roster. Hopefully. What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So USC did get a big-time 2024 commitment on the defensive line in Carlon Jones out of the state of Texas. It was pretty much between a battle between future Big Ten foe Ohio State and USC, and luckily they did win this year. He was pretty much a 3-star at one point, but bumped himself up to a 4-star, and a pretty talented one at that. So definitely very excited to hopefully have him on the roster pretty soon. Hopefully coming up on Wednesday on early signing day. And the USC women's basketball team played tonight against Cal State Fullerton, and we're pretty much able to handle that team 93-44. Once again, the star freshman Juju Watkins had over 20 points and pretty much easy pickings here, so they weren't really worried about this one. So yes, luckily they were able to get off with that victory. Then when it came to Isaiah Collier, yes, he recently signed with Beats by Dre, a new NIL collective commitment for him. So a nice way to be able for him to make money. And I thought it was kind of funny too that it was announced after USC ended up losing that game on Sunday to Auburn. So that's why you got to come to USC, young athletes, because even if you lose, you're still winning off the field. So that's why it's a pretty nice thing to be a USC athlete. And then, yes, as we have future players coming into USC, we also have current players also leaving the team. And as of today, or earlier today, on Monday, 2 players on the defensive side did enter the transfer portal officially from USC, and it was cornerback Domani Jackson, who was once a 5-star player and an overall top 5 player in his class. And yeah, I'll get into him. And then the linebacker star freshman that they had last year, the 4-star in Tackett Curtis. So, of course, he was a big-time get. And, of course, he ends up going into the portal as of right now. Of course, you never know if they're going to come back and are just testing the waters or whatever. But, I don't know. It kind of seems like it's pretty much a done deal that they're going to be gone. And Domani Jackson, yeah, of course, while he's been at USC, he was hurt the first couple years, and when he finally was healthy enough to start pretty much every game this last season, he wasn't really consistent and got beat quite a bit of times, and maybe he wasn't fully 100% mentally either over his injury, but USC had to suffer through that for their team performance, and of course, he's just going to leave USC, but I guess we'll see where he ends up. And then Tackett Curtis, yeah, he had a lot of talent, and I know pretty much played safety in high school and linebacker, but it was kind of more of like a roaming safety, and that kind of worked out for him. He wasn't going to be able to play that at the college level, so he was pretty much still trying to learn the linebacker position, and under Alex Grinch, not many people learned and developed that quickly, so I'm kind of surprised that they got rid of one of the big problems for him, being able to get better. Why is he leaving? But maybe he was able to recently talk to some of the new hired people and even one of the new coaches at his position in Matt Entz, and maybe they just decided that it would probably be best for him to enter the portal, which sucks because I know it was pretty much down between like him and Carlon Jones, who we spoke of earlier, was down to USC and Ohio State, so hopefully he does not go to a Big Ten foe and play for them, but you just never know. And I know he's from Louisiana, so I won't be surprised if he goes to LSU, but then of course USC and LSU play the first game of the season in the 2024 season coming up, so it would be pretty funny to see him again. But yeah, as of right now, I think also Malachi Nelson officially entered the portal, the 5-star quarterback from USC. And then there are a lot of reports saying that Will Howard is pretty much going to commit to USC, or has silently, but for some reason publicly has not announced anything. So I'm pretty sure within the next couple days, at least this week, there will be an official announcement, but we will have to wait and see. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, the Kobe shoes were announced for the USC men's and women's teams. They were also announced for the Duke teams as well, and they look pretty cool there, as you can see. So it's pretty cool that they were able to partner up with the Mambasita Foundation and keeping Kobe Bryant's legacy going, which is pretty cool, and his daughter Gigi's as well. Then when it came to the Lakers, yes, they did play tonight, and they played over the weekend as well, or maybe it was Friday, I believe, and they were pretty much lost both of those games. They played San Antonio again and lost that 115 to 129. Tonight they played the Knicks and lost 109 to 114. So yeah, it doesn't look good overall, losing to the Spurs team that they had just barely won the game before on the road over there. But the Knicks are a pretty good team out there in the East, and they kind of let this one slip away. It was pretty close down the stretch, but yes, sadly they weren't able to get that victory, which sucks, but we'll have to move on, I guess. And then a little bit more of movement from the Chargers. They did name Giff Smith, who is a defensive line coach, I believe, the interim head coach, and JoJo Wooden as an interim GM after they had fired Tom Telesco as well. So I'm pretty sure both of these guys won't get the head coaching jobs or GM jobs in the end, but hopefully the Chargers are giving themselves enough time to do homework on both and be able to get all this stuff done. I mean, it'll be hard to say before the end of this year, but hopefully for the end of this season, which is a couple weeks, and, early part of 2024. Hopefully, new year brings new beginnings, and they could be able to focus on that NFL draft as well. Apparently, the front office did make some more moves and letting go of a defensive line coach for the Chargers in Jay Rodgers. They had let him go as well, which isn't surprising because he was part of trying to coach up those guys, and they just never really did well, and those stats can speak to it as well. So not that surprising that he was one of the first ones to be relieved of his duties. And then recent portal entry from Texas quarterback Malik Murphy did set up an official visit to Duke, which is pretty cool, but it did kind of come with a little bit of onslaught because then the 4-star quarterback Tyler Cherry, who was committed in the 2024 class, decommitted once that news came out. So if Murphy does end up picking Duke, then maybe that's the case. He will not return, but why is he decommitting all of a sudden? Maybe it's not clicking with the new head coach, Manny Diaz, or maybe he just believes that Malik Murphy is going to get that role, or actually transfer and then officially be given that role, which is the reason why he would be transferring. But either way, I don't know. It could be good for Duke. It could not be. So we'll just have to wait and see. And the Anaheim Ducks, I believe it was yesterday, beat 2 days ago, beat the New Jersey Devils 5-1. And Adam Henrique had a hat trick as well, so that's pretty cool for them to finally get back on their winning ways and in pretty good fashion. But yes, hopefully they can continue this at some point. And then when it comes to a 5-star basketball player, I believe he's a 5-star in Kaman Maluak. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. He did reclassify to the class of 2024 from 2025, and he's one of the better players out there in the NBA Global Teams of Africa or something like that, one of their teams. And yeah, apparently Coach John Shire of Duke was recently in to see him play, and they're kind of thinking to pair him up with Cooper Flagg in the class of 2024. So I don't know how that affects anybody that is already committed to Duke in that class, but I mean, to get one of the more talented guys, especially from the country of Africa, that'd be pretty cool for Duke, because they've gotten some guys, but not really that many guys to spread that much globally, especially out over there. So that'd be pretty cool to see for them. And Duke football recently hired the SMU quarterback coach and co-offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer as their new offensive coordinator. So, I mean, obviously SMU is known, at least to me, in the past handful of years, known as scoring a lot. So hopefully he does bring that to the Duke offense, and maybe he has his quarterback from that state of Texas as well and Malik Murphy, but you just never know. And then two pretty good players from the Duke football team recently declared for the NFL draft. It was a wide receiver in Jalen Calhoun and offensive lineman Jacob Monk, both recently declared. So, yes, definitely looking forward to seeing where these guys end up getting drafted, especially Calhoun. He was one of the better players the past couple seasons that I have been watching Duke a lot more closely during the football season. And yes, definitely very excited to see where he ends up. And then obviously the other day had talked about obviously Brandon Staley getting fired and the general manager finally getting fired as well, and Tom Telesco. But a lot has been up in the air. Like I said, I don't know much candidates for the GM job just because I'm not too much into that crowd. But obviously a lot of talk about the football coach, the main head coach, and that would be somehow guys like Bill Belichick from New England. So that's a pretty interesting name. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan, even though I thought he was going to sign some type of big extension, but maybe with the problems he's had with the NCAA, he might want to leave and just go to the NFL. And I hear he likes Herbert a lot, so it's another name. There's another guy, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions, who probably should have been a coach last year, coaching in his first year right now, but decided to stay with Detroit and is looking pretty good so far, especially against the Chargers. So they threw up 40 plus points against them. But yeah, just a couple of names out there. There's some other people, even like Dan Quinn comes up, the defensive coordinator from the Cowboys. But yeah, he was good at some points, but he is part of that historic loss with Atlanta against New England in the Super Bowl. And I think he just looks really good in Dallas because of how many good players there are on that team. But I don't know. He might end up keeping Kellen Moore if you make him the head coach as offensive coordinator. So who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. And like I said, hopefully we'll hear some good news about both those positions early in the year 2024. But yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.